finally done it. I've gathered all 7 Dragon Balls in one place. Now, Eternal Dragon Shenron, by your name I summon you!
I am the Eternal Dragon. State your wish.
I wish that Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Tenkaichi would be relevant again.
A simple wish. It shall be done.
Yes, good.
Your wish has been granted. Farewell.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to make a mix.
No, that's not possible. I destroyed you. It was the only way to keep the galaxy safe. But if it's a fight you're after, then you've got it.
I can't believe it's already been 3 years since I made my first review on why Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Tenkaichi sucks. And while a lot of people seem to like it, I was never really satisfied with how it turned out. Looking back on it now, it just seems like a bunch of nitpicky nonsense with a bunch of stupid jokes about Rosie O'Donnell thrown in. Though to be fair, even Donald Trump is still making jokes about Rosie.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Bad presidential candidate, stop making fun of irrelevant celebrities. Anyways, I figured I would go back, play Ultimate Tenkaichi again, give it a fair review, and see if it's still as bad as I remember. I am not looking forward to this. Help me. Help me, please. Why aren't you helping? Okay, so right off the bat, the game's off to a good start. We get a nice AMV set to the original Japanese Dragon Ball Z theme song, Cha-La Head Cha-La. Honestly, it's cool that they use this song since it gives you the nostalgic feeling that you're actually going to watch some DBZ again. Once you get to the main menu, you can pick from Story Mode, Hero Mode, Training, Versus, and Online. The Story Mode, as you would expect, goes through the entire story of Dragon Ball Z, with some of the movies and GT thrown in for good measure. Unfortunately, they decided to tell the story in the most boring way possible, with long walls of slowly scrolling text. Adventure! No, but seriously, this is the worst thing ever. Maybe if there was a narrator reading it, this would be more tolerable, but when you have the text scrolling this slow, it kinda bores the player. Now you might be thinking that I'm nitpicking a bit, after all it is just a bunch of words, but I've actually totaled up the time it takes for all of these walls of text to finish scrolling, and in a 6 or 7 hour game, it eats up a whopping hour and 20 minutes. Occasionally you'll even sit through one of these walls, fly around for literally 3 seconds, and then sit through another one. And okay, there is a skip button for players who already kind of know what's going on, but for people like me who haven't seen the show in years, or even people who haven't seen it at all, we've got to force ourselves to read through it in order to understand what's happening. And the text doesn't even do a great job of telling the story. It's all exposition. Let's say you're a fan of Dragon Ball and your friend hasn't seen it before, so you make them read a plot summary on the Dragon Ball Wiki. Okay, great, now they understand the story. But they're not actually invested in the experience. The exposition only serves to explain what's going on and does nothing to give you a connection to the characters or the world as a whole. Take the Naruto Storm games, for example. Those games do a perfect job of getting the player invested in the story because they show the characters interact with each other without all of the needless exposition. And I know I'm putting a lot of focus on this, but I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball, and it just hurts to see the story being told so poorly. I mean, this is freaking Dragon Ball Z we're talking about. It deserves better than this. Fortunately, it almost makes up for the countless walls of text with the 2D animated cutscenes. It's really awesome to see the most memorable Dragon Ball Z moments remade with the new art style. And while there aren't too many of these scenes, they're easily the best part about this game, and it's always refreshing when you get to see a new one. What's not refreshing are the 3D cutscenes. Hot damn, these are bad. First off, let's talk about the lip flaps. Usually in Japanese media, the lip flaps are synced up to the Japanese actor's voice, and then when it gets an English dub, the translators will just come up with lines that sort of fit the movement of the character's mouth, so matching the flaps is easier. Here, they didn't even try to match the lip flaps with the Japanese voices. The characters' mouths just open and close repeatedly. It doesn't even look like they're talking, it looks like they're chewing on gum. Plenty of other Dragon Ball games had at least the Japanese voices synced up, so there's literally no excuse here other than laziness. And do I even need to mention the infamous Goku turning around scene? Seriously, what is this? No, really, what is this? Have these people never seen a person move before? This looks terrible! And Goku's not the only one who does it, it's literally every time a character turns. Like, my god. And as if that wasn't bad enough, characters will sometimes switch voice actors mid-cutscene, since a lot of these lines are taken from both the original Funimation dub and Kai. This is crazy distracting, especially when you hear Kid Gohan or Frieza talk.
It seems you've forgotten how powerful I am. Let me help you remember.
Of course not. Did you think 3 ants could defeat a dinosaur?
Get away from me! Mr. Piccolo!
It's like they didn't even try to stick to one voice. How did they think people wouldn't notice? And if you think the way they told the main story sucks, we haven't even touched hero mode yet. To be fair, this was the first Dragon Ball game outside of Dragon Ball Online, may it rest in peace, to feature a custom story with a player-created character. Unfortunately, it's really fucking stupid. First of all, you can only play as a male Saiyan with only like 3 to 5 choices of original costumes and hairstyles. Most of the other choices you get from playing the game are just taken from characters that already exist. I would normally make a joke about completely original and do not steal, but I honestly don't have the— Do not steal! I need some water. So the story goes like this. Just like the Earth where Goku lived, there's
Just like the Earth where Goku lived.
Oh, okay, now there's a narrator. Where the hell were you for the main story? They obviously had the guy come in and record some lines. Did they just not want to pay him for the extra hour would have taken to do the rest of it? Gotta spend as little money as possible. God forbid we actually make a decent game. Be right back, gonna go fire all our 3D animators and give the job to this guy. Actually, on second thought, maybe it was better without the narrator. This guy's boring as shit.
Unusual is happening there right now.
Yeah, okay, how about we speed it up a bit? Fuck it, the story goes that in another universe, some bad guy used the Dragon Balls to plunge the worlds into chaos, and now it's your job to change it back. Was that so hard? And none of the story makes sense. The first person you fight is Captain Ginyu? What's he doing on Earth? And then you fight some generic Saiyan ape? Okay, how come he's an ape and I'm not? I do have a tail after all. And then androids 17 and 18 come in and they're evil again, and then later, spoilers, you find out the main bad guy who plunged the world into chaos is Omega Shenron? Who came up with this? No, really, this has to be someone's fanfic. This doesn't feel like Dragon Ball at all. None of it makes any sense. Okay, if you want to make Ginyu the first guy you fight, that's fine. If you want the androids to be evil again, cool, whatever. If you want Omega Shenron to be behind everything, I mean, now you're pushing it a bit. But the point is, all of that only works if it fits into the context of the situation. And frankly, there is no context other than, this is an alternate universe. Yeah, I'm gonna need a bit more than that to go off of. For example, you fight that generic Saiyan ape, right? Well, let's forget about the whole why am I not an ape either thing and just ask, who is this? Is it someone we know? Maybe Goku or Gohan when they still had their tails? Did they turn into an ape by accident or on purpose? Is it trying to destroy the planet, or did they just want to fight you? This is the kind of stuff you're supposed to explain, and without it, there's no story. I hate to admit it, but I would actually prefer the obnoxious scrolling text as long as it helped make sense of all of this. It feels like they put no effort into telling the story, which is essentially the most important part of Dragon Ball. But hey, we're not talking about the anime here. We're talking about a video game, and as we've seen in the past, we don't need a great story mode in order to have a great game. One of my favorite Dragon Ball games, Raging Blast 2, manages to still hold up with essentially no story. Why? Because the gameplay is still fun. After all, it is sort of the most important part of any video game. Can this game actually redeem itself? Is it possible for it to rise from the ashes and deliver an interactive experience unlike any other? Who am I kidding? The gameplay fucking blows. Okay, first off, this is supposed to be a fighting game. Fighting games are generally skill-based, and the fun comes from mastering the mechanics and getting stronger through practice. Well, the developers wanted to go on a different route and introduce luck-based mechanics, so that even a new player can stand a chance against a veteran with minor practice. Can you already see the problem here? But let's break it down a bit. In each battle, the goal is to get your opponent's health to 0, and the best way to do this is by launching as many super attacks as possible. To use super attacks, you need to fill up your super attack meter. To charge the meter, you need to land chain attacks by repeatedly hitting your opponent. The game will then stop, and a quick time event will appear on the screen. If both players select the same button, the chain attack won't go through. If they select different buttons, the chain continues. If the green attack goes through, your super meter will fill up, and if the purple attack goes through, your opponent's ki meter will drain. The ki meter is used to defend against super attacks, and you can fill it by holding down on the D-pad. Once a player finally launches a super attack, the opponent will have a choice to defend based on how much ki they have. They can either block it to take less damage, try to evade it entirely, or try to hit the opponent back. So for maximum damage, you have to try to launch your super attack while your opponent has as little ki as possible. In case you haven't noticed, a lot of this game's fighting system is based around quick time events. For some games like God of War and, hey, even the Naruto Storm series, the quick time events work because they add to the immersion and don't take anything away from the battles. In Ultimate Tenkaichi, the game literally stops multiple times per battle so you can play rock, paper, scissors. This completely breaks up the action to the point where the game feels slow, clunky, and after doing it for just a couple battles, repetitive. There's practically no skill involved. I've gotten a ton of comments on my other videos saying I just suck at the game, but in reality, it's not possible to suck at it. The gameplay is largely based around chance. To make things worse, every single one of this game's 50 characters plays exactly the same. Okay, obviously Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is going to do more damage than Krillin, but if you know how to use one character, then congratulations, you've mastered them all. And somehow, the boss battles are even worse. Every so often, you'll have to fight against a giant opponent like Ape Vegeta or Janemba, and of course, all of the bosses are the same too. They all have the same pattern of hit, dodge, hit, dodge, and then they switch it up with, you guessed it, more quick time events. Am I missing something? Is there a game here? Does this count as a game? I know this might sound crazy, but before Ultimate Tenkaichi came out, I was actually really looking forward to it. Between the remade anime cutscenes and the brand new character creator, I thought this was going to be the definitive Dragon Ball Z experience. But it wasn't even close. I guess you could say a lot of my hatred towards this game comes from the disappointment I felt after playing it for the first time. But honestly, can you blame me? Don't get me wrong, it does have a few redeeming factors. The environmental destruction from using super attacks is absolutely incredible, and the 2D scenes are definitely worth watching at least once. But as far as I'm concerned, this is the worst Dragon Ball game I've ever played. And now it's time for me to do what I've been wanting to do to it for so long. Huh. That was anticlimactic.
So it seems Ultimate Tenkaichi was not enough to do the job. But little does he know, I still have one more trick up my sleeve. Oh, God.
Need more water. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching my first video of 2016. I know it's been a while since my last video, but I've been running into a couple technical issues which are hopefully resolved now. Regardless, I should be able to make videos faster now, and hopefully we'll see a few more in the coming weeks. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing, you can follow me on Facebook or Twitter by checking in the description below, or you can even subscribe to know the moment the next video comes out. Again, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.